I want you to do this simple test to see how projected your face currently is. And by the end of this video, we're gonna redo this, and I want you to notice the differences. I want you to get your 2 fingers out and place it underneath your chin and see how many fingers you can fit from your neck to your chin. Models on average can fit 4 fingers in this distance. The average person can fit just about 2. The issue isn't how many fingers can you fit. The issue comes down to something that's a lot more intricate to your facial anatomy and the rest of your body. And I'm gonna teach you a 5-step solution for you to begin fixing this naturally. The 4th step is something that I actually discovered through my time studying physics at a top 4 university in the world for craniofacial sciences. Let's get into it. So the first step is recording the baseline. I want you to note down how many fingers, whether that's 2, 3, 3.5, or even 4, to see where your current baseline is. And only from that baseline are we going to be able to improve. Now, going off of that, step 2 is going to be then leveraging how your neck and jaw sit. I've just told you that how projected your face is going to be perceived depends on how many fingers you can actually fit. So the quickest solution comes down to aligning your neck just how models do. And I can tell you this because I've seen it with my own eyes inside of the modeling industry. So what I want you to do is have your chest actually come out ever so slightly, roll your shoulders back. Notice how your neck no longer wants to sit forward, but it wants to rotate back into its correct position. And then your jaw naturally is going to sit perpendicular. You're immediately going to notice that you can fit a lot more fingers, whether that's half a finger or a fraction of a finger. You can fit and find more space immediately. Now, I want you to map out to what extent your jaw protrudes to. Remember, your jaw is one of the most easily remodelable bones on your face. What that means is, just like how you put bricks to build a home, your bones require essential nutrients to actually build themselves. But once they're built, unlike a home, they don't just stay static. They continuously change for the rest of your life. And we are going to leverage that. We're going to make the most of that. This is going to only be possible by following this particular chewing protocol. Now, when you chew food, you're directly going to be stimulating the jaw to have force traveling through it. And remember, when any force travels through any bone, the bone has no choice but to remodel. And that's exactly what we're doing here. But when you chew food, the chances that you're chewing food incorrectly are so high that I can almost say it's a guarantee. So what's the correct way to chew? Just how models chew. It comes down to using your molars. If you spend most of your time chewing food using your front 3 pairs of teeth, then guess what? You have force traveling incorrectly around your face, and it's making your entire face actually drop and recess, making your side profile look worse. But when you use the furthest back teeth and chew symmetrically, what you're doing is allowing force to travel up the pillars of your face. And when force travels up the pillars of your face, you're signaling to them that they need to remodel. The bones need to remodel. This links in to the next step that I want you to have focused on. You also need to embed using your tongue to chew food. Remember, your side profile is determined almost entirely by the bone structure. And remember, the bone structure is determined by your facial muscles. Just how athletes have their bones remodel over time because the muscles are continuously pulling on the bones, then relaxing on the bones. We're doing the same thing with our face. And this is why models continuously look good, look model-esque. Now you might be asking me, how do you use your tongue when you chew? And it's actually really simple. Once you chew with your backmost teeth, you're going to spend the final 5% of your time chewing using the chewed food placed in the middle of the tongue and then using the tongue to push that food upwards. What this is going to do is allow force to travel up the middle of the roof of your mouth and actually extend outwards and forwards. And remember, just how the bones of athletes remodel, the bones on your face are evolutionarily designed to also be able to remodel. That's simply what we are doing here naturally. So when you're using your tongue to push that food upwards and drive it through the roof of your mouth, just for 5% of the time that you spend chewing, you're going to be signaling to the bone that it needs to remodel, and you're going to be strengthening the tongue. This is exactly why world famous supermodels look the way that they do, because since they were children, they were naturally doing this habit. But that doesn't mean that now that we're older, we can't do it. Bones grow when you're young, but bones always remodel the older you get. This is a fact. And finally, the most important and final step that I want you to do is actually make sure that the back of your tongue sits high enough. Because remember, what we measured to test your side profile's projection was the finger test. And the finger test is going to determine how much space you have here. And to build that space over time through bone remodeling, the back of your tongue needs to sit in the correct position. Because if it's not sitting in the correct position, then force isn't traveling at this angle, allowing your midface to remodel. But how do we do that? I want you to swallow a small amount of your saliva and place 2 of your fingers at this intersection. And I want you to notice how the back of your tongue actually moves and oscillates. How the back of your tongue moves in that wave-like motion is what I want you to replicate throughout the day as much as you can. Now, obviously, you cannot exactly copy this because otherwise you wouldn't be able to breathe. But what you can do is replicate it around 70% of the height that it was. And can you imagine what that's going to do for your midface? Force is now traveling in the correct direction. We've combined it with all of the previous steps. And now force is traveling the correct manner, allowing your face to remodel for better projection, for a better side profile naturally. Now, I want you to combine everything we talked about and redo the finger test. And you're going to notice, especially once the back of your tongue sits in the correct position, you can actually fit and find more space. When you can keep this newfound correct posture, this is going to allow your face to remodel, allow you to over time transform, and allow you to look closer and closer to what you should have always looked like. And if you want to transform in the same way that everyone I've worked with has, you want to take the next step, then join the Levy system. It's the system that I spent years of my life actually uncovering, discovering, and then putting into one place. It's the top link in the description. You can be the judge of whether you find that valuable enough or not.